last couple of years, your team has had good guards, and they have good guards again this year. But what is this year? How is this year's team going to be different than what we've seen the last 2 years?
Well, the one thing that's different immediately is we have some returning guards. If you look at the last 2 years, 2 years ago, our backcourt was totally remade. We did have a couple with Jamarius, and you had Nike coming off of an injury. But when you added Greg, and when you added Nelly, so we had a new backcourt. Even Nike, because he hadn't really played for us. Last year was a completely new backcourt with Bub, with Jaland, with Ish, and with Zach. You had two guys where it's their first time playing college basketball. Then the other two guys, it's their first time at this level, at the ACC level. You had one that transferred from the Atlantic 10, one that came from the Big South. So this year, having Jalen and Ish back and Zach as a wing, not necessarily a guard, but a wing that gives us some experience in the backcourt. Dame has been at a high major, you know, in coming from Houston, coming from the Big 12, but he also has a great deal of experience. So this is not his first time, playing at this level, and he has a lot of experience in college basketball. So I think that's a difference right there, is that we're maybe a little bit more experienced with having some returning guys, and then our new guy has played a lot of college basketball. So it only leaves for one freshman, Biba, at the guard position, and he has some older guys that can really help him through this thing.
I think some things that have come out, with the secret scrimmage and everything, Cincinnati, it looked like a bunch of guys made threes for you in that game. Is that one of the differences, too, that whereas last year you had Blake and Bub taking, a couple hundred threes between the two of them, this year you might get a more spread approach?
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a guy that'll make 110 like Blake did, but I think we can make as many or more than we did last year, because I think all around the court we have guys that can make them, not just shoot them, but they can make them. I don't think we have a scholarship guy on the roster that I don't trust shooting good 3-point shots. And as long as we're generating them, I want our guys to have confidence to take them.
What did you think about your team's play against the series scrimmage? Who stood out to you, and who were some of the better players?
Okay. I just want to make sure I don't break a rule. Obviously, they are a very good team. I thought we did some really good things. I thought everyone that saw the court played well. We moved the basketball, especially those things, they help you, I think, so much as a team, because you're playing against really good competition and you get game experience. So situations and games, for me and for us, it was a chance to play against a really physical team. That's something that we aren't able to simulate in practice. And so to play against that level of physicality, I thought was really good for us. I thought we handled it well, then we didn't handle it well, and then we handled it well again. Collectively as a team, we have to rebound the basketball better. But I thought everyone played really well and did some good things throughout the scrimmage.
How did Cam and Papa do against Cincinnati?
They did well. They did well. Papa didn't play a lot of minutes, but in his minutes he played well, and I thought Cam played well.
You going to take it easy on Papa early?
No, I'm not taking it easy. It's just the situation. I mean, I look at his situation similar to Nike. Nike wasn't the player that he was in November and even probably early December as he was in January and February. It takes a while to fully get back from that injury. There's a mental hurdle, and I think that's what it will be with Papa, just the mental hurdle of overcoming that injury, getting the rhythm of playing. Papa hadn't played in basketball in a year because it wasn't like with that injury you can practice. He didn't start playing 5-on-5. It's probably been a month now. And so it's not just us taking it easy. It's just reading the situation that's there.
How about defensively? I mean, both in that scrimmage and just overall. I mean, how do you see this team developing on that end?
Well, that has to be what we hang our hat on. individually, we have to take pride in it. Collectively as a group, we have to have more pride. We have to help each other. We have to have the toughness and grit that I'd like to think that we've had the past couple of years. That has to be that way now. Obviously, our defense is different. Federico was the anchor of everything that we did defensively the past couple of years, and we obviously don't have him. But I think we have more guys that can defend, um, and hopefully we won't have any weak links out there. But to me, defense is you have to know what you're doing. You have to know personnel who you're playing against. So we have to really do a great job of studying and in our preparation of knowing exactly, what we're doing and then be able to execute it in real live game situations.
Expect to have more of a scoring threat in the paint this year than last year?
I think so. I hope so. But until we get out there and play, we'll see. I mean, and it may not be, your traditional where you throw it to somebody and they play with their back to the basket. It could just be you score more, whether you score from offensive rebounds more, you score from drop offs, you finish, you make free throws. Cam was 6 of 6, in the scrimmage. And late in the game, we were getting him the ball when we knew they were fouling because we trusted him to make free throws. And so, but we also think we can score different ways in the paint. It necessarily doesn't have to be a big. We feel like we have some guards that can get in there and with especially with Dame and Ish, against guys maybe smaller guards where we're able to take advantage of that.
I saw somebody point out once that, Cam scored 25 against you guys last year here. You still won that game by 15. I don't want to say is post scoring less important than it's been in the past, but I mean, is it? Is it less important than it has been?
I don't think it's less important. One of the best teams in the country last year had the two-time player of the year in Zach Edey. And so I don't think it's less if you have a guy like that. But I think that the game has changed and it's evolved. I think there's more spacing, there's more shooting all around the court. The pace of play is a little bit different as maybe it once was. But I think if you have someone that's really good in there and that can score, you certainly want to get the basketball in there.
Talk about physicality. It seems like Dame's one of those guys that's learned how to be physical at Houston and Temple. How do you think this translates so far here at Pitt with the guys and just him being here?
Yeah, well, I also think those two schools and also where he's from. If you've been or, I've had the fortune to be around players from Kinston, North Carolina. And the one thing you have to be coming from there is tough to be a basketball player. And so it started at Kinston. He developed it even more at Temple. Certainly Houston's a way different level than anything, as far as toughness and competitiveness and things like that. And so I do think he's learned that. He's learned a lot. I think he got better last year without him even realizing it because it didn't translate to the way that maybe he thought it would translate as far as points. But I think if you're in that environment, which is maybe one of the best cultures in college basketball, what Houston has created with Coach Sampson, if you're in it every day, like you have to learn because you can't survive if you don't, do it every day. And so without him realizing, I think he got better. And I think that's going to make him a better basketball player for us this year.
You've talked a lot about Ish and Jaland stepping up as leaders this year. You've had 2 in-game opportunities to see that side of them. What have they shown in terms of leadership so far?
Well, I think the way they've talked, the way they've managed huddles, halftime situations, huddles on the court and timeouts, the way they hold themselves accountable, the way they hold each other accountable. I think they have a great partnership right now, Jaland and Ish, which comes with shared experiences and going through difficult times. I mean, they're 2 guys that were on the court a lot for us last year and in big moments. And they both stepped up in big moments and played really well. The other thing is that they have the ultimate respect of their teammates because of how they are as young men. And then when you see how they work every day, the time that they put in. And so it's been really cool to watch their leadership develop.
Every year, the smart guys on TV always say the team with the best guards are the ones that advance in the NCAA tournament. Does that thinking apply to the regular season?
I think if you have good guards, you have a really good chance of winning. And I think it's always been that way on every level. You have to have good guard play in order to win. We've been really fortunate the past 2 years. We've had really, really good to elite guard play. And hopefully we can have that again this year.
How's Amsal? How's he doing?
He's getting closer. We'll have a better idea, tomorrow or Monday. But he's getting closer. He's working hard every day. He still hasn't done any 5-on-5, anything live. He still hasn't done that yet, but hopefully we're getting closer.
Everybody else is good to go? As of today?
Yes.
What do you see for Amsal, in the type of role and how big of a role he can have for you this year?
Yeah, that's hard to say now because we haven't seen him in a few weeks. But I know that he's a good player. I know that. I know that he's a smart player. I know that he has a skill and that he can really shoot the basketball and that he knows how to play and play off of really good players. And so what that translates to his role, I don't know. We expect him to be a good player. I understand that when he comes back, it's probably going to take some time because with his shooting hand, his right hand, he hasn't done anything. And so it's not like you're going to come back and all of a sudden, when you haven't been able to use your hand, there's going to take some ramp up time to strengthen that back up. But I know that he's a good player. I know he can shoot. I know he knows how to play. I know there's a toughness and a competitive spirit there. And I know he's a smart player. So that usually translates into being pretty good. So hopefully it translates this time. All right. See you guys.
Thank you. What's going to be the biggest difference in this year's team compared to last year's team?
I think the biggest difference from this year's team to last year's team is definitely how versatile we are. I think we have a lot of different weapons, and we can mix and match them in many different ways on both sides. So I think our versatility is something we can really lean on defensively and just offensively, throwing different looks at teams on both sides.
We just talked to Jeff. He said he's comfortable with any scholarship guy on the roster taking the three right now. Is this one of the better shooting teams you've been a part of?
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the better shooting teams. It just comes with work. All of the guys are hard workers. We put in the time, and we believe and trust in each other. And when your teammates believe in you, it just instills that confidence that you know it's going to go in every time you shoot it.
Defense can be a mindset sometimes. I mean, you obviously have to execute and work hard and all that stuff, but guys have to really commit to it, right? What have you seen out of your teammates as far as committing on that end of the court this year?
I think our toughness has been on another level. I really like the way we set the tone defensively. We're really gifted on offense, but like you said, like effort and energy is all it takes on defense, and we've been doing that really well as of lately.
You say on another level. Can you describe that a little more?
We're just very cohesive. Like everybody's talking 1 through 5, echoing commands. Just a lot of intensity. Like Pittsburgh tough is something that I think of when our defense is focal point.
What do you think you've seen from Dame that's sort of embodied that Pittsburgh toughness, even though he is a new guy to your program this season?
Yeah, Dame's big guard, super tough guard. That's one of the first things I think of when I hear Dame's name. Like, you know, he's gonna bring it on both sides, day in and day out, and we appreciate that, and we definitely feed off his toughness. Like, he's definitely a edgy guy, and that can do nothing but help us during the season.
How do you think someone as young as Biba has learned to understand the toughness of the college game compared to being in high school?
I think he's adjusted really well. So kudos to him. We talk to him day in and day out, just to control what he can control. Because as a freshman, some things can be a little bit overwhelming. But he's definitely brung that edge, that toughness coming from high school, and that's what we're gonna need from him this season.
Do you still feel like? I feel like a lot of people have asked you this, but heading into the season, you guys did miss the NCAA tournament last year. Is there still even in this season, do you still feel like you'll have that chip on your shoulder throughout until you make it again, or is it more just something that's on the back end right now as you head into Radford on Monday?
It's a whole new season, but I definitely think it's still fuel to the fire. Like that's like the gasoline we threw in the fire. The fire is getting bigger, so it's definitely fuel to the fire, and we're looking to leave no doubt this year.
What do you guys need to do to set the tone on Monday for the season?
To set the tone on Monday, I think we just need to come out and throw the first punch. Honestly, just assert our dominance on both ends of the floor, and just come out and be as tough as possible. Like I feel like as long as we're playing hard and we're playing smart, we're going to be one of the tougher teams to beat in the country.
The leading candidate to get to repeat the opening night triple double.
Who knows, honestly. Like Coach said, it could be anybody on the floor. We just try and come out with the win and stack as many of those as we can.
You guys are about to start your season, but there's some other teams here that are playing and doing well. Volleyball is ranked #1. They're playing tonight. Football, they've got their game tomorrow night. You guys get into that stuff too? You watch? I mean, you're gonna watch volleyball tonight or football tomorrow? You get into any of those teams too?
Yeah, definitely. I love supporting other Pitt teams when they're doing well or when they're struggling. It's just all about the support, honestly. They see our faces at the games, and we see theirs. So just Pitt support is what comes to my mind when I hear that.
You mentioned that Pittsburgh tough mentality. How does that allow you guys to kind of separate yourselves from other teams in the ACC?
I think that allows us to separate from other teams in the ACC just because when you're playing harder than somebody else, it tends to cover up some mistakes. Not all, but some. And just playing as hard as possible. And like I said before, setting the tone is one of our key points going into the season.
Is this your last year eligibility?
Yeah.
When a college guy approaches your last year like that, do you approach the season a little differently, a little more intensity, a little more desperation?
Just trusting the process. You're definitely taking it day by day. It's gonna be my first college game, so a lot of emotions go into it. But I love to play basketball, so for me, it's just taking things day by day and staying present, staying in the moment.
When you look at Jaland, I mean, last year he really came on towards the end of the season, but over this offseason and heading into the first game on Monday, what do you think you've seen from him that's shown really a lot of growth and maybe in terms of leadership as well?
Yeah, you said it. His leadership role has definitely increased, and he's doing a great job with it. Honestly, he's a lot more vocal, and we can look to him for if we miss a shot, confidence. We can look to him. He's reliable. Really, he's a reliable point guard, and I want to be backcourt partners with anybody else.
You're an older guy, but does your leadership responsibilities amp up a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've been doing a better job of being more vocal on and off the court, and just leading by example. I'm not the most talkative, so I really had to get out my comfort zone this year and step up to the plate.
I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Dame yet, but is he a talkative guy? Is he a quiet guy? Does he get loud in the locker room? What's he like?
He's in the middle. He's a mellow guy, but on the court he's a dog. So love Dame, love everything about him. Can't wait to play with him this year.
How do you think the front court's been looking for you guys? I know Coach has been talking a lot about Cam and some of the other guys, but what have you seen from those guys in terms of their improvement over the offseason?
Yeah, a lot of growth. Cam, physical paint presence. When he's in the paint, you're gonna know he's in the paint. One of the guys that has really improved and has grown, in my opinion, is G. You guys are gonna see a lot of him this year. He shot it well last year, but he's shooting it extremely well this year. He's been able to take on the responsibility of guarding other guards because we could switch 1 through 4, and just a lot of growth in his game, and I can't wait for you guys to see it.
What should fans expect of Amstel when he comes back healthy?
What should fans expect? Just a lot of smart plays. Like, his IQ is on another level, and I tell him this all the time. Like, sometimes he sees things that I don't even see. So just kudos to him. It's definitely, you could tell he has some Bosnian in his blood just because of the plays he makes. He's definitely a playmaker, can shoot the ball lights out. So I can't wait for him to get back.
Is there a little bit of excitement being back in front of your home fans and being back on the court and starting the season again?
Definitely. It's been a long time coming. Can't wait to play in front of the Zoo. It's just a lot of excitement. just can't wait to get out there and show you guys what we've been cooking up during the off season, preseason.
How is this team gonna be different than last year's team?
It's a little bit of different style of basketball. Not too much different, but just different in the aspects of the kind of guys we got this year. You know, we got G playing the four this year, a lot more. You know, Damian brings a different kind of guard style to our team this year. But overall, it's really the same still. We're going to still be playing off each other, creating plays for each other, still shooting a lot of threes, getting a lot of paint touches. You know, we got Cam in the post now, so we can throw the ball inside when we want to. And I think it just brings this year we just have a little bit more we can go to.
Ish talked about defensively, you guys have this Pittsburgh toughness to you guys. How would you define that, and how have you seen it through this team?
Yeah, I mean, our defense, Pittsburgh tough, that's what our coaches emphasize. And that's just being physical, throwing the first punch, you know, being dogs on the defensive end. And we pride ourselves in doing that. But, yeah, that's just a huge part of what we are, and that's what we represent. And that's, you know, that's the culture that we have. And we take pride in that.
How did it feel to finally play somebody who wasn't wearing a Pitt jersey the other day?
Felt great. Not gonna lie, it felt great. We got to learn a lot about ourselves, but overall, it was just really fun. We had a great time.
What did you learn about yourselves?
We just learned the type of physicality and type of focus we got to play with all the time. You know, playing against each other throughout the whole summer, you tend to lose some of that back and forth battle some days just because you're used to playing each other. Lose some of that focus every now and then just because you're like, you know what the other team is running. You know the specifics of what each guy likes to do and stuff like that. So, you know, playing other guys it told us to really lock in, trust each other, and just really play our game.
When you look at your own game, what are some of the things you've been surprised by in terms of what you've improved on this offseason?
Really just, I don't think I'm surprised by anything. It's just things I really wanted to hone in on and focus on. But I've gotten better in most overall aspects of my game, but my leadership, trying to be that bigger voice for the team, trying to step up overall, be that guy for everybody. Me and Ish trying to help this team get to another level.
How do you see that partnership like really evolving over the season? Is it something that you built upon last season? Is that sort of like important for how it's been built upon this season? How you guys work like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, me and Ish weren't as close as we are now from last year, but you know, we've definitely gotten a lot closer this year, and we know what we have to do for each other to really take this group to another level, and for us to be better as individuals, inside and outside of basketball. So we've got that communication, that togetherness down pat.
Did you set any personal or team goals for this season?
ACC championship and tournament run. That's the minimum. That's what we emphasize every day. That's what we want. We want championships. Personally,
Yourself.
just want to win. That's all I want to do. Last year, I didn't think I won enough. Clearly, you know, it didn't happen for us. So personal goals, I just want to win. Do whatever it takes to win.
You guys lost to North Carolina down at the tournament. You had a nice game. I think you had 17 points. Do you take that performance that night and say, I can do this and I can build on that?
I don't just look at that performance. I always have that kind of confidence in myself where I know what I can do. But yeah, it definitely helps and shows what I can do at that type of level against, you know, teams like North Carolina. But at the end of the day, I know what I can do and I trust myself.
What point did your confidence get to the level it is now?
I mean, I was always pretty confident in my basketball ability. It's just about being confident body-wise overall, just in the flow of the game and stuff like that. But probably time I say best hit was when I went home after Christmas. Dad got on me a little bit, but came back stronger.
You spoke about you know, wanting to win more, and like that's obviously the goal. But have you seen that not just from yourself, but from your teammates whenever you're playing in these recent games like Point Park and Scrimmage? Like, have you seen that in the games? Just like the desire to put yourself at like a higher level than you were like last season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just with the guys that we have, it's guys who are underdog mentality. We play like that all the time. We always feel like we got to go out there and prove something, and that's what it is this year. Leave no doubt. So every time we go step on that floor, we say that we know what it's about, and we try and just go out there and prove that every single night, no matter who's out there.
Last year in the home opener, you guys scored 100 points. Bub had the triple-double. coming into this game on Monday, how do you guys set the tone moving forward for the season?
Setting the tone for us is just playing our brand of basketball. Um, first off, defending home court, and then just playing physical, tough, hard-nosed basketball that we know how to play. Just I think the win for us is just playing how we know how to play and giving it our all. That's all it's about for us.
How have the forwards looked? I mean, obviously you're a guard, but how have the guys down low? How have they progressed over the offseason defensively and offensively as well?
They look great. They're real physical. I know Pop today was bleeding like for half the practice, but our forwards are great. Those guys have improved a lot since we came here this summer. So I'm super proud of those guys, and they take pride in their work. They take a lot of pride in their work, and they're ready to show it.
I mean, you talk about bleeding during practice. I mean, that used to be like 20 years ago around here. It was like sort of the stuff of legend of these practices. It got physical and guys chasing each other around. Just really competitive, really intense. How intense does it get for you guys in practice?
It gets pretty intense for us. We try and overall try to keep that intensity up, especially halfway through the summer when it kind of got boring for us. We had to figure out ways. Think halfway through the summer I just started smack talking more. Start smack talking in practice more, get a lot more people more hype so we can get the energy up, get a lot more physical, and just get after it. And I mean, that's just what it is today. Every day we just go out there and give it our all. That's how we play. And, it gets physical like that, but at the end of the day, it's all love. But, when we step in between those lines, it's war.
I mean, you seem like such a nice guy. Are you a good smack talker? I mean, can you really come up with some good stuff?
I can come up with some good stuff every now and then. I know how to pull the right chords from certain people and stuff like that to get everybody up and at it.
Where was Papa bleeding from? His nose?
Somewhere around face area. All I know is, Pop was being physical today. I don't know. I just saw a lot of blood on his jersey today, and he was ready to get after. He was out there, just being Pop, being loud, being ready, being physical, and doing all the dirty things.
Do you ever smack talk a teammate enough that they had to be held back?
Nah. Never that far. We know what it is at the end of the day. It's just all fun and games, just, trying to get the energy up, physicality up, just make it a little more competitive.
Do you feel like simulating that energy will allow you guys just to kind of see what you guys are going to expect once the games start?
Yeah, no doubt, because at the end of the day, if we could take it from our teammates, we could take it from anybody. That's when we lean on each other the most, when outside noise tries to get in. So if anybody else tries that, we're not new to it. So, we're pretty used to that. But at the end of the day, we know how to keep our head straight.